I don't
delay.
know. I waited, so let me just
I think then
message.
she'll join. Yeah.
I'll just message her. So Sanjaya in the ninth verse talks about the Vishwarupa Darshan. So the 10th verse, 10th, 11th, and 12th talks about how it looks. So actually, we can experience it wherever we are. So on the road, you can, or wherever, like right now, as we talk, you can see that each individual seems to be doing the different thing but the same way. So he talks about Aneka Vaktra Nayanam, that is mouths and eyes. Aneka Adbhuta Darshanam. So that being can have many sight all at once. Just like if I were to add people staying in US and Europe and India and all the places as humans and animals and birds and insects and all that, how many eyes you would have and how many different sights it can see. Aneka Divya Abharanam. So you have divine ornament. So it is ornament. Right now it is ornamented. The consciousness is ornamented by uh, the flesh and the skin. And there are beings who are ornamented, that is, the consciousness is ornamented without any flesh and skin, but still it is ornament. Divya Aneka Udayata Ayudham, so different kinds of weapon which are uplifted. Divya Malambara Dharanam, so wearing garlands and apparels. Divya Gandha Anulepanam, anointed with divine perfumes. And Sarvascharya Ayam Devam, so all wonderful and resplendent. Anantam Vishwato Mukham, so it is literally with the showing to the world. So the world is created out of five senses. So now the consciousness can interact to the senses through the mind. So what does the mind do is it feels and perceives. That is the instrument of mind. Anything that comes on the sense door, it can feel that something has come to the sense door, and it can perceive. It has conditioning to its core. So mind has to be conditioned, consciousness is unconditioned. So now from the unconditioned, this consciousness seems to be conditioned. So now if somebody calls my name as Vilas, and then I'm going to say, yeah, tell me. But actually there is no Vilas at all. It's feeling of Vilas and a perception that I am Vilas because I am told that I am Vilas. Whereas in reality, I have different names called by different people in my home. So my parents have named me something different than Vilas. That is an official name, but personally I have some other name. Now the fun part of that is if any of my family member were to call me, I can respond as though I'm not Vilas. So that's the beauty of consciousness. That's not a beauty of the mind. It can respond without any problem. Like uh, Lata's dog Bruno, it is not Bruno at all, but it is going to react to her voice and behaves as though it is Bruno. So the more she calls Bruno, the more that it wags the tail and it comes near and it does all the things and giving an impression that it is really Bruno. So the mind now attaches in a wrong feeling, that is feeling of Bruno, which is wrong, and a perception that this is Bruno. So both are really not the right way of understanding. So that is called as moha. So whereas in this consciousness, it can react to whatever. And that is what the Vishwa is all about. So, yeah.
In this Vishwarupa, one small clarification.
Sure.
In this Vishwarupa, so Arjuna is able to see through his Divya Chakshu, right? Otherwise he can't see that.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Now that experience happened, is it through the mind, or it has happened between two what you call Brahmans? Because Arjuna has got inside Brahman, and Vishwarupa is a real Brahman. Is there any like Guru Shishya relation, or both came to the same level? What exactly has happened?
No,
and,
that is.
Added question is, when you are sensing that Vishwarupa, it gives a feel for us that it is through the mind. But the mind presence was there or not? Without mind, how the connection happens? So you can maybe give a clarification on all this together.
Okay, now there are no two Brahmans. It is not possible. First thing. So it is one single consciousness, seemingly appeared as different. So what Arjuna, or what rather Krishna did, is to, when we say divine eye, it means that the ignorance is removed. Okay, when you remove the ignorance, you can now see thousands of eyes and thousands of mouth, thousands of ears, like that. So who is seeing it? It's a mind which is seeing it. Like I was saying to you, is that mind has two things. One is a feeling and one is a perception. And the perception has intellect to it. Now, in the normal case, even with us, apart from Arjuna, Arjuna is made to believe that he is a warrior. And he sees his uncles and brothers and all of those people and children fighting for a paltry palace. So he wants to run away from that scene. So this is the intellect perceiving through the feeling. Okay, so now what Krishna does is he opens up the wheel, or rather removes the ignorance from Arjuna. Now he can see that this looks like a huge monster, what we call as consciousness. It is consuming everything from everywhere. It doesn't have any concern for anything at all. It does something which is extraordinary because it can consume. So you will only see Tejas and Ojas. Nothing else is seen. So the next line, if you really see, it talks about 1,000 suns appearing at once. So that's a Tejas, what it has. And it eats the nutrients, which is Ojas. So who saw what? If we were to see who is mind, what is the consciousness? So it lost its perception and feeling. So once the feeling and perception are gone from the mind becomes completely absorbed in the consciousness. So now that is how you meet Brahman. You means any being, and that is Advaita, non-dual. Because there is no Jagat. Did I answer?
Yeah.
So here in this, in fact, that 11th verse talk about that. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhavet Yugapat Uttitha Yadi Baha Sadrishi Sa Syat Bhasaha Tasya Mahatmanaha. So even if thousands of suns were to blaze at once, that brilliance would not match to this, because this is something which is totally there in everything, so it shines. In fact, in the Buddha there is one sutta he talks about. He says that Vinyanam Anidasanam Anantam Sabbato Pabam. So, what it means is that Vinyana is the consciousness, the pure consciousness. Ananta is endless. Sabbato Pabham means it is shining in all direction. Anidasanam means undirected or unmanifested, or whatever we can call that as. So undirected would be the right word. So consciousness actually is undirected, but mind directs through perception and feeling. So it seems as though the consciousness is now directed. So let's take an example, is that consciousness is now directed by the mind to believe that villas exist. So when I start searching for villas in my meditation, if I touch the head right now, I will say this is Vilas head. I will have to say to myself. Then if I touch the eye, then it is Vilas eye. Then nose, then tongue, then teeth. Like that, if I were to touch all the parts of the body, I will be touching only the part of it, not the person. Because that person never existed in the first place. But this Vinyana or the consciousness or the Brahman or Atman or Atma, whatever name we can talk about, made something impossible possible in the mind. Vilas is not a possibility, it is impossible, but seemingly possible because of the sound. So the perceiving of the sound to the ear made this whole body to resonate with that sound. So the mind is now connected where whoever calls my name because of the namakarana, then that sound coming into the ear always make the me come into existence. So who is Vilas? Then we have a definition for Vilas, but you will never really get to know who is Vilas. So what Arjuna got from Krishna is to understand who is Vilas. And then he came to see this huge, monstrous figure. And the whole universe is in the Lord's body. So that is the beauty of what I can say, this shloka, the 11th and 12th, Divya Mala to Divya Surya Sahasrasya, and the next verse he talks about everything is within that Brahman itself. So Tatraikastham Jagat Krishnam Pravi Bhaktamane Katha Apashya Apashyat Dev Apashyad Evad Evasya Sharire Pandavasthatha. So now you can see everything appearing in me. So this is what he could see. So right now also, even though we don't have that divine eye or whatever, we can really experience this by our own way. So you look at the two eyes and two ears and one this mouth and one nose and the skin of the face, and if we see everyone, we are actually reflecting the mirror reflection of each of these object in the consciousness. So there are no persons at all. That's the what I can say, that is the impression of the world or loka or jagat. So from the consciousness we are able to see the manifestation of jagat. while what is really coming from that is either sound or taste or touch, smell and sight. That's all what is coming. There is nothing else which is coming. And for experiencing that, you have chakshu, shrota, grana, jivha, kaya. So 5 senses, and you have 5 tanmatras and 5 elements corresponding to it. So this monster being keeps on consuming Prithvi, Apo, Vayo, Tejo within Akasha. And that we can see with our breath going, with our eyes. When we see, everybody is seeing. It's not I who is seeing. So this is the exercise if we do. After a while of doing this, meditation or exercise or practice or whatever we want to call, after a while, I don't know how much while that would be, it can be even 5 minutes or 5 days or 7 days, or I don't know, it can even goes to months and years. But whenever it really works, you will feel that you are there everywhere. And that is the Vishwarupa Darshana, which you can have by really contemplating on the 5 elements and 5 senses and 5 the sense objects or tanmatra, then the 5 karmendriya, that is the hands and legs and walk, and then the genitals, and then the anus. So if we really take all these 5 karma indriya, then we can see that everybody is doing the same thing. Another example, like I had informed some time ago, that if you go to a temple and you watch, or you can go to some aradhana and there you can watch everybody eating at the same time. So consciousness is now eating Prithvi, Apo, Vayo, Tejo within the space in a very synchronized way. And at that time, when the first morsel is put in the mouth, you really see a very fascinating thing. 5 minutes before, there would be chaos, sound. When the first morsel goes inside, absolute silence. And that is what the silence is all about in consciousness. In fact, when you put the first morsel, even though there are 10,000 people eating or 1 lakh people eating, for the first few morsel, like first morsel, second, third and fourth, till they drink water, nobody speaks anything. There is pin drop silence. And then if the fan is there, only the fan sound is heard. Nothing is heard because there is no person at all. The mind cannot feel, cannot perceive. The consciousness is the one which is overlooking everything. So it's pure silence. So that's another, what I can say, example we can take. So these, taking these examples, we can contemplate on that. You can meditate on that, because mind has the ability to imagine. So we can imagine this 10,000 people sitting in a place and eating, or 1 lakh people sitting in a place or eating, or even more than that. If we could really think in that way, not thinking, imagine it in that way, then you can really experience that Vishwarupa Darshana. It's so synchronized. Or even if you go to a mosque and observe how these Muslims do that rosa. ಇಲ್ಲ ಇರಬೇಕು ಹಾಂ ಬರ್ದಿರ್ಬೇಕು ನೋಡ ಆಕಿ ಎಲ್ಲೋ ಇದು ಹೋಗ್ಯಾಳ ಸ್ನಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಯಾಳ 1 minute ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಹಾಂ ಅದು ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ರಿಲೀಫ್ 1000. So we can actually experience that when they sit for that namaz, and you can see they're literally synchronized. And at that moment, they don't really exist as mind, just consciousness existing. So these are some of the ways of watching how consciousness really makes this possible, while the mind perceives that it is what it is doing. So the objective of realization is to make the mind, which is wrongly perceiving and, or rather wrongly feeling and perceiving, to make it rightly feel and perceive. So then you can see consciousness everywhere. There's no individual, and you are completely filled with bliss in whatever you do, because there is no person. So there are only five elements, and you don't feel anything about the five elements. In that way, the attachment goes away. So if wife and husband and children, etc., exist, then there is suffering, because they are not really there. They're just fabrication of the mind through feeling and perception. In reality, what exists is only five elements. So if I'm able to meditate on the five element, that will give me bhuta shuddhi, and with the bhuta shuddhi, I'll have chitta shuddhi. So then I'm released. And that's exactly what he talks in the 14th verse. So tataha saha vismayaha avastitaha hrishta roma dhananjaya pranamya shirasa devam kritanjalaihi abhashatah. So if we were to experience this, you will be filled with wonder how consciousness is able to make mind feel that it is the one which is feeling. So the Arjuna, in this particular case, his hairs were standing. So when you get this experience, certainly your hair also will stand, because it's something very phenomenal. It changes the person's way of looking at it. And then he bowed down, and with palms joined, he spoke like this: Pashyami devan tava deva dehe sarvan tatha bhutah vishesha sangrahan. One second. Brahmanandam isham kamalasana ऋषींच सर्वान् उरगांच दिव्यान् अनेकबाहो उदरवक्तनेत्रं पश्यामि त्वं सर्वतः अनन्तरूपं न अन्तं न मध्यं न पुनः तव आदिं पश्यामि विश्वेश्वर विश्वरूप. So he says that I see all the gods in your body, as well as all the beings of various kinds, and the Brahma, the Lord of creation, is there seated on a lotus, and all the rishis are present, as well as the celestial serpents, possessed of numerous arms, bellies, mouths, and eyes. I see you all around as having infinite form, without end, without a middle, and so without a beginning. I behold this Lord of the universe in the form of a cosmic person. So if the mind has this feeling and perception, if that mind, feeling and perception were to be removed, then there is no beginning, there is no end, there is no middle. So it really stops. The samsara is stopped. So this is what he experiences on the Vishwarupa. Anything you want to discuss, or shall I continue? I'll continue.
I think, yeah, you can continue.
So it is like all of us are peering through this.
Yes.
What do you say? The different sense objects and then seeing. So I was imagining
1 liter hug.
a lot of children using some kind of a rod, and in the end there is some film or something. So you're looking through that, and then fighting among themselves because they see things differently. When they remove those, everything looks the same.
Yes.
So yeah. So that was the feeling I was getting, or feeling. No, that's the thought I was getting.
1 ಲೀಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಅದ ರೊಕ್ಕ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋರಿ. ಸೊ that is the exercise what we need to do, to be honest. So shall we do that? We have another we can do for 10 minutes.
Yep.
If you can imagine that, it will be very nice. Okay. So what you need to do in meditation is that you can imagine whichever way. You can imagine 10,000, 1 lakh or 10 lakh or 100 lakh people sitting in one dining hall and all eating together. So you can see, you can hear, you can touch, you can taste, you can smell. All of them is happening when a person is eating. Okay, just imagine just see what happens, that these 5 elements, which is food, is digested by every mouth, and you leave the perception that you are eating and you are feeling anything about that eating. You just have to really perceive or feel that you are existing in everybody all at once, and you are perceiving all the taste and the touch, smell, and sight and everything what others are seeing. Just try to do that for another 10 minutes, and then we'll again meet up. So how is the feeling?
Today I have done in the early morning that sunrise.
Okay.
It was different and a good experience. I wanted to practice without sitting. You said, "No, you
Yes.
can do it anywhere."
Yes.
Yeah. Then when I came here, I found three things connecting to me. One is that sound, birds chirping, and the heat which is coming out of sun. Actually, it's very cold outside. The moment you come, then I was trying to disconnect myself from heat because that is coming from external. Okay, it is there everywhere, my understanding, and I should not, get carried away with that. Okay, this heat's helping me or anything. Heat is just heat, but you don't connect with the heat. That's what I was trying to do meditation. I can say that even though heat was there, I was able to slowly be on my own even without thinking of this heat. That means either heat or cold, slowly forget from mind. That is what I'm trying to do. Slowly it is coming up to, I can say, a sort of meditation level. But sound and all, I'm able to do it much better. Disconnecting from the sound myself. That's one part. Other is all inclusive. Everything is there. Yes, now what you think. It's like you are also part of everything. That was, that kind of thing I have done for about 3-4 minutes. Both are very pleasant experience. Maybe you can help me to understand what exactly I should do here. When you have three things coming, one is that touch. Touch is nothing but heat coming. Second is sound. Breathing, you told me very clearly. So these two things you can just help me. What should I do? Do I need to say that all inclusive I am, or that is, it's like just shut off your organs to receive that jnanendriyas and be on your own?
No, it's not like that. So you have to imagine that there are thousands of mouth.
Yeah.
Okay, and then all the mouth will make sound. So then if you really see that, it becomes like a huge sound, right? So that is how this Virata Rupa will look if you really were to see it.
Yes.
To experience that, right at present we can use the imagination. Then when the mind becomes completely still, you can really see this being, and you will understand what the Purusha Sukta is all about. So right now we have to imagine that thousands of ears are there and everybody has a mouth. So when they open the mouth, sound is going to come.
Yes.
Okay, so whatever sound it is coming as a tanmatra. It's not your sound. It is everybody, right? All inclusive. Okay, and when the touch, like what you said about the sun touching, sun is touching everything and everyone. So when we see it like that, you see yourself in everything.
Yeah, all inclusive. I said the same thing.
Yes, you'll
that I'm able to feel. Yes.
And if that stays for some good amount of time, you will lose yourself.
Okay. Because sound and both I did the same. And forgetting myself, I should go to that stage, right?
Yes.
That means when you are there, you are there.
You are there, and then you don't exist. So that feeling that you are there goes away, and perception of you are there also goes away.
It's like watching that storm water movement. You also move along with the water.
Yes. Or like a train, there are two trains and one train is leaving, but this train also seems to be leaving.
Yes.
Even though you are stationary.
Yes.
And you will see that in action. So it will be a very thrilling experience, which is equivalent to what Arjuna is feeling as a Vishwarupa Darshan.
I want to do it now outside.
Yeah, you can do it. Now it is 9:30. Maybe you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lata, you have anything to share? Otherwise, shall we end the call?
Yeah, we can end the call. So for me, when I was looking at it, I felt that I don't have to eat anything. I'm already full.
Yes, that's a very good feeling.
Yeah, there's nothing for me to eat. So, and I have tasted everything. And so that's the most stronger feeling is that I don't have to eat anything.
Yeah, good. So actually, when you are consciousness, there is no hunger at all. There is no thirst. There is no hunger. There is no longing. Nothing is there.
Mm,
When you think from mind, then everything comes.
correct.
Good then. So we continue tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank
See
you.
you then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Mm.